All right, happy spring equinox. Let's start with knees bent. Arrange the back body using your hands to perhaps pull the shoulder blades together and down toward the waist. Just opening the heart a little bit. If the low back feels tight at all, take those feet a little wider. And then release the arms out so that the upper arms slightly tucked under, opening the heart. And the palms face up. Let the fingertips just curl and open gently. Let the palms be soft. Let your eyes close. And take a nice long exhale. And just move into your back body and into the mat. Just rest heavy here. Feel the weight of your shoulder blades and your sacrum sinking downward as you exhale. Feel the earth rise up and greet you warmly, support you. Let go of any thoughts. Try to unhook from the chatter of the mind. And each time you exhale and unhook from the chatter, then on the inhale, bring your attention back to your breath. I often call the mental chatter like a stream of consciousness. The stream is an excellent metaphor. Instead of being swept away by the water's current, we can step out of the stream. We can pull ourselves up on the bank, and we can choose to watch the thoughts instead of acting them out, feeling them, or living them. From that perspective, we can choose wisely what thoughts we want to attach to. Notice which ones serve us and which ones don't. And that is the true power of this practice. Your breathing should feel deeper and more in balance. And just take a moment here and make sure that your inhales and your exhales are rhythmic, in tune with one another, and express your authentic self. Let your tongue be heavy and drop away from your teeth. And let yourself open up at the throat and through the inner body so you can hear your breath as your guide as we begin the practice. Let's hug the knees in now. Give yourself a hug. Sacrum and your hips toward the earth. Breathe your belly to your thigh. Bring your chin toward your sternum. And then move the hands behind the knees, keeping the chin tucked. Roll up. And we'll come into child's pose. Big toes come together. Sink back onto the heels. And then rest the forehead either to your mat or to a block or pillow to bring you some extra ease or comfort there. Go ahead and take the arms out in front of you and take a nice full breath here in your child's pose. Once again, inhale, breathing the belly toward the thighs, feeling the breath move into the back, and then exhaling and sinking into the hips and closer to the earth. On our next inhale, we're going to come up slowly, sitting upright, rolling, unfurling the spine. And then on our inhale, we'll press into the shins and reach up. Lift your chest and reach gently behind you, pressing the hips forward. Exhale, bring the arms down. Sink into the heels and bring the hands behind you. Lift the heart by pressing down into the hands. Exhale and fold back out to child's pose. Take a full breath there. Breathe your belly to your thighs. Breathe into your back. Sink into the hips. Next, inhale, we're coming up again. I'm going to curl it first. The seat unfurls. And then I'm going to extend onto those shins. Press the spine forward, lift the heart. And then I'm going to exhale, sink down into the hips. Bring the hands behind me, under the shoulders. Inhale and lift the heart. Exhale, fold from the hips and extend back out to child's pose. Let's go through this cycle 3 more times. So you can kind of go at your own pace if you're feeling it, get into that rhythm. That inhale, we're going to open up, grow, reach toward the side. On that exhale, we're sinking back into roots, settling the hips, placing the hands to support the lift of the heart. On the next inhale. Exhale, return to the earth. Take a full resting breath there, and then go again. The seed always knows when it is time. Time to open and to germinate. Rest, breathe, know when it's time. Be in a rhythm with the cycles of nature. Be in rhythm with the cycles of your own breath, your own body. That is true wisdom. Let's do this one more time. Really press down into those shins, hips forward. Lift and reach up out of your waist. Exhale, sink down. Hips are heavy. Bring the hands behind the heart. Press into them. Lift the sternum. Exhale, back to child's pose. After a full breath, belly to thighs, breath into the back. Come forward, stacking the shoulders over the hands. Knees are under the hips. And we'll do 3 or 4 cycles of cow-cat. That inhale, I'm going to curl the toes, move the spine to the front body, extend through the forehead. On the exhale, release the feet, pull the belly button up and in. Really arch that back into cat, and then go at your own flow. So I want that arch in my foot. I want the belly heavy, heart open in cow. I might stay there for an extra breath to find that. And then I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to pull the core in, broaden the back to go to cat. So one more cycle. Listen to your flow, be with your breath. And then as we head back toward cow, let's stop at neutral. Make sure we spread the fingers wide, create some space between the fingers and those gateways, and start to extend the hips back. So keep the hands planted, ask the arms to lengthen and engage, ask the torso and spine to lengthen and engage. We're going to go into downward dog, starting by just lifting up as high as we can, getting those sitting bones high, coming up on our toes. Do not let the hands slide near you. Let's do cow-cat here. Bend the knees, press the chest toward the thigh. Then straighten the legs, lifting the sitting bones, bring the chin toward the sternum. Then extend the head out in line with the arms as you lower the heels and find neutral. Belly should pull up and in to support us extending out into the hands and rooting. And also lowering the heels and rooting. Breath is rhythmic and even. Let's straighten this out to plank. Really slowly. I'm keeping those feet in place. I'm lowering the hips until I stack the shoulders right over the hands. Make sure my elbow creases are facing one another. Pressing my inner heels to the wall behind me. Extending the crown of the head out in front of me. Pulling the belly button to the back. And then we're going 8-point salutations. We'll try to soften to the floor. Keep the toes there, bring the knees down. Deepen the groins, keep the elbows in. Melt the chest and chin to touch. Then relax the whole body down. Stack the hands and rest your head for a moment. Just breathing into the belly and back. Take this moment to return to your rhythmic, authentic, natural breath. To check in and make sure that the mind, clutter, and chatter has not snuck up on you, that you're still sitting on the bank, the observer, watching, choosing wisely what to listen to. All right, let's bring the forearms to the floor. Elbows are under the shoulders. We're pressing the hips and the tops of the feet down, coming into Sphinx Pose. I really want to lengthen and elongate that tricep. Wrap the forearms into internal rotation, press into the thumb and the pointer finger. Let my sacrum be a heavy anchor. And then I'm going to keep the hands in place and straighten the arm bones, keeping that chest open, coming up higher into seal. Activating the heart chakra and the heart meridian as I'm thinking about that spot from the outer collarbones where the shoulders meet the torso, all the way down the inner seam of the arm into the pointer finger thumbs. Press your heart forward as you inhale. As you exhale, pull the belly button toward the back body and anchor into the sacrum and feet. One more breath. And exhale. Slow release. Again, stack your hands. Keep the back of the neck soft. Breathe. Rhythmic and smooth and true. Release any tension. Unhook from any unnecessary thoughts. And when you're feeling that the nervous system is back into balance and you're ready, you'll plant the hands. Make sure you have that space between the fingers. Keep the knuckles and wrists rooted evenly, and we'll stretch back to down dog again. So as you come up, lift those sitting bones, lengthen that spine. If you want to do cow-cat here, help me to find neutral, do so. If you prefer to just bend one knee and pedal the opposite heel toward the floor, you can play with that. Find your rhythmic breath. Find your neutral. The place where the arms and legs are working equally, where the spine is extended long, where the breath can be even and smooth. And then let's straighten it slowly to plank. Lowering the hips, getting the shoulders over the hands, and pushing the floor away furiously. It's a lot of stability here in this framework. Elbow creases face each other, spine is long, heels pressing back. And then I'm going to melt, getting that spine to flow toward the mat, getting my heart to soften. And then melt the whole body down to follow. Back the hands and rest the head. Returning the nervous system and the breath to neutral, and then preparing for Sphinx pose again. Let's open that chest. The upper arms are working toward the back body, the triceps pressing down, the forearms wrapped and rooting into the pointer finger thumb. Sacrum's heavy, legs are active, point through those toes down into your mat, and then straighten and bring this up higher. Stretch that belly long. Keep the heart pressing forward, but pull the navel towards your back and anchor into heavy hips and strong, active legs. Slow release. Settle in. As you stack the head and rest the forehead on the hands, think about softening the back of your neck, letting the cervical vertebrae move into that gentle, natural curve, and letting your belly be heavy, meet the mat, letting your back melt toward the mat. When you feel prepared, you'll plant the hands and transition back to downward facing dog. Third time's a charm here, right? Where we're really going to find that place that aligns us. When I'm working in down dog, my upper arm muscles are in external rotation to open the chest. My lower forearm is in internal rotation, rooting the pointer finger. This clears the line for the bones to align, makes the armpit hollow, and brings energy all the way back to the psoas, to the sitting bones. Let's straighten it out to plank. Find your plank. Pull that belly button to the back, press your heels behind you, and let's roll onto the outer edge of the right foot for a side plank. I can scissor the foot, I could bend and bring here for a modification, or I can stack. Reach up through the top arm, press down into the bottom hand. Come back to center. Drop the knees if you need a little extra break at center. And then we'll go to the other side. As I'm rolling onto the outer edge of the left foot, I stack the shoulder over the hand. Scissor the foot where needed. Push down and reach up at the same time. Find your breath. And come back to center. Beautiful work. Let's bring those knees down. Keep the toes curled. And then melt the heart. Chest and chin to touch at the same time. And then relax the whole body down. Neutral breath. Connect to the breath. Unhook from any thoughts. From here, if you'd like to stay with Sphinx and Seal, please feel free. If you'd prefer to go and join the legs together more strongly, bringing the hands about to the nipple line at the chest, keeping the elbows squeezed in, then we'll start to just explore Cobra here a little bit. I'm going to rest my forehead down, zip the right and left legs together, press the toes in, my shins will lift away from the mat, my sacrum will still be heavy. And then as I inhale, I'm going to elongate, lift the spine, press it forward. Almost like I'm dragging the wrist back toward me, keeping those elbows hugged in so that my heart is really open and forward. But I'm breathing down the back, down the spine, into the sacrum and the active, strong legs. And then I'm going to exhale and slow release. Stack the hands, find that neutral breath. Unhook from any thoughts that are not necessary. When you feel ready to transition, plant the hands, take it back to down dog. Find your neutral. Talked about the arm action, the isometric action of the muscles of the arms last time. So keep that in mind. And then also at the legs this time. So with the legs, I'm thinking about bringing the hips and the thighs into an internal rotation. That will bring stability to the pelvis. Working the calves toward an external rotation that works the pinky toe, heel side of the foot toward the floor. I can also think about the hamstrings elongating up and lifting the sitting bones, but the calves are pressing down and rooting the heels. The heels do not have to reach the floor, but they're working energetically in that direction. Belly's up and in to support this. Breath is flowing. Let's bring the feet closer together. Keep the hands rooted really strongly and extend the right heel back away from us toward the sky. Take a breath here, find some space, open up to this. And then let's step forward on the exhale, supporting yourself at the navel. We're going to come into a high lunge. I want those toes up in line with the fingertips. I'm going to be on the ball of the back foot with the heel lifted. And I'm going to first just extend out through the crown of the head, my hands framing the foot. I'm bringing this thigh into a strong internal rotation, extending the back heel away from me, and then a strong core I'm going to lift up. Torso coming up high, arms reaching overhead. Good, nice breath here. Unhook from any unnecessary thoughts. Focus on your breath. Release the arms in front of you. Palms face each other at shoulder width. Hug the head of the humerus into the armpit. Then cactus arms. The chest moves forward as the arm roots back. Then reach up again. Keep the chest open, the neck long. Release the arms in front of you. This time, open up and turn toward the bent knee. Bring that chest wide, reaching through both arms. Back to our forward position. Frame the foot. And transition back to down dog. 3 to 5 breath cycles here. Finding your neutral. Bring your feet together at center. Keep the hands rooted. And this time we're extending the left heel toward the sky. Breathe into that spaciousness. And inhale, look in front of you. Exhale, keep yourself supported at the core. Step forward. Toes up by the fingertips. We'll come into this high lunge. First with the hands still down supporting us, just make sure we reach through the crown of the head as we're extending the back heel away from us. Heel is lifted off the floor. And then support yourself at the core and rise up, reaching to the sky. Find your breath, rhythmic, authentic, unhook from unnecessary thoughts. Release the arms in front of you. Hug the head of the humerus in. The chest is open. Pull those arms back into a cactus position. Press the chest forward. Maintain that. Reach up. Exhale. Arms in front of you. Turn and open. Press through that back heel as you reach through that back arm. Back to center. Frame the foot. Transition back to down dog. Spread the fingers wide. Get yourself a nice wide base, even across the knuckles and wrists. Get those sitting bones high. Find your neutral. Let's take it to plank. Slow transition. Feel the weight shift. Find your center. And then knees. And then chest and chin. Melt the spine and the heart. Relax the whole body down. Tuck the hands in neutral breath. You can stick with Sphinx and Seal if those are a little more in alignment with your body. You could stick with Cobra, which we just did, or you could choose to move toward upward facing dog this time. This would be a little more active and require a little more opening for the back bend. If you're going into upward facing dog with me, the hands will slide lower toward the lower rib cage, more near the waistline. They'll be close to the sides and the elbows will stay in, and the legs will still be zipped together like one big leg. And I activate the legs by pressing down into the toes so the shins lift. I'm gonna rest my forehead neutral. And then I'm gonna press down into the hands, press the spine forward, and the hips will lift off the floor this time. Upper arm externally rotated. Lower forearm internally rotated. Heart pressing forward. Breathing down your back into strong anchored legs. And exhale. Slow release. Rest the forehead. Unhook from the thoughts. Return to the rhythm of your breath. We will take it back to downward facing dog before we transition to standing. Plant the hands, engage the arm muscles and those opposing actions to bring the bones into alignment. As you press the floor away, feel that energy rebound up through the arms, along the torso sides, pull the psoas back deep in the groins, and then work down into your heels to root you. Spine is long, head is relaxed and heavy. Breath flows seamlessly. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing out. One more breath here. And walk the hands and the feet closer together. Slowly feeling that weight shift out of down dog. And we'll move toward a hang, where I'm going to bend the knees, let my belly come to my thighs, hold my elbows, rest the head heavy. Let my back drape over me, cloak me, soft and heavy. On the inhale, I'm going to press into the corners of the foot. So the arch lifts, press down into my hands. Bring the chest parallel to my mat. Half Uttanasana. Really want to feel the femurs moving back into the hamstrings by pressing down into the inner and outer ball mount in the center of the heel. Then the arch will lift energy up my legs. I'm going to feel that flow. I'm going to feel the belly draw up and in and the sitting bones spread and extend the crown of the head out. If you can't reach hands to the floor, you can press them into the tops of the feet or the shins, come to where you need to make this feel right and accommodate your body without sacrificing the alignment. Let's do this 2 more times. We're going to really just exhale, sink into the hang, and let ourselves be soothed. Let the groin sink down, the sitting bones sink down. And then I'm going to press into the roots of the foot. Feel the femurs move back, straighten and extend slowly. And then I'm going to bend the knees, deepen the groins, hold the elbows, and just soothe myself and hang. Sinking down. And then I'm going to press into the feet. Engage the legs to straighten, extend the spine fully. Legs should feel really awake and alive, and then we use the arms to draw the chest closer. On our next inhale, let's take the arms out wide. Come up through the strength of the legs, the core. Reach to the sky. And exhale, arms will come down at sides. We're going to come into mountain pose. Move to the center of your mat here now. As we work from standing. Let's find a nice strong base for our mountain pose. Bring the feet under the hips. Fan the toes out, create some space between them and the gateways. Inner edge of your big toe probably be a bit closer than the heel. I'm going to root down into those 3 points, fan my toes so I have the biggest space possible. And just make sure that the weight's equal and even over the ball of the foot, the heel, the right and left edges. In mountain pose, the sensation is that from the waist down, we're really rooting. And from the waist up, we're rising. And if I get that right, if I get the rooting right, I'm going to feel a natural rebound coming up. So again, take time with the feet. The bones here themselves, the heads of the femurs, are screwing in towards center, internal rotation for lots of stability. But the thigh muscle is spreading back, widening toward the back body. And then my sitting bones, the heels of the pelvic bone, the pelvis, they sink down into the heels of the feet. But I bring my thumbs to the heels of the occipital bone and I draw up toward the sky. Elbows wide and heart open. So try to line up those 3 sets of heels on the right and left sides. The occipital heel right over the pelvic heel, the sitting bone right over the right foot heel. The pelvic heel and the foot heel root down. The occipital heel draws up gently from the pressure of your thumb. So we're elongating that line. We're lining it up and then we're elongating it. Nice open breath, open chest, feel that heart open. And then exhale, arms heavy at your sides. And then hands coming together, pressing strongly into each other, elbows out wide. A reminder to bring the right and left sides together, to integrate at the spinal axis, and to let our movements originate from there. Step back out of the stream of consciousness if you have been swept up again. Unhook from any thoughts that don't need your attention or energy. Return to the breath. Be present right here, right now, in this moment where we're really suspended in a state of balance. We only get a few moments of it each year. The seasons, the cycles are in balance. This is one of them. Breathe into it. Suspend yourself into balance so that you know what it feels like, so you can carry it with you. Good, let's let more weight come into the right foot and really try to stay in and maintain mountain, but begin to bend the left knee and draw the left foot up with the toes flexed. Find a focus point for your eyes. Pull your belly button to your back. And turn your belly button toward the lifted leg. Extend your arms wide, standing twist. Exhale, release. Return to your mountain. Let the left foot take the extra weight this time as you slowly bend the right knee and draw the right foot up with the toes flexed. Stay in mountain as much as possible, except for that leg with the bent knee. Turn your belly button. Reach your arms wide. Standing twist. And release. Beautiful work. We're back to mountain. We're back to center. We'll take a moment there. And we're going to balance again. This time we're going to go into Eagle's Pose, Gurudasana. I'm going to do a slow perching, a slow squatting. My feet are together. I'm starting from mountain. I have my focus point. I'm going to deepen the groins and bend the knees just a bit, starting to let the sitting bones sink down. And then I'm going to cross my left leg over and to bring the left foot to the outside of the right. I'm going to kickstand on the left toes for balance. And think about drawing my thighs together, internal rotation, and sinking down a little bit lower. Finding that perch, staying centered. We're really bringing everything to center here in our Eagle's pose. I want to find just the right balance of perching and lowering, bringing everything to center. Finally, bringing my wings around and wrapping so that my back will broaden. I bring those elbows to shoulder height. Breathe into the thoracic spine, into the back door of the heart. I'm going to pull my belly button to my spine and see if I can lift the left toes and balance on one leg. Everything's drawn to center. Take a breath here, and then I'm going to exhale and expand out. Good. Let's bring it back to mountain. Settle your awareness in your feet. Press down into your roots. Feel the energy rise up. Align the heels. Stabilize. Return to the breath. Unhook from unnecessary thoughts. Begin this deepening. Move into it slowly. And then cross the right leg over. And we're really squeezing those thighs together. Trying to bring everything to center. Finding my perch. I will bring my wings around me, broadening my shoulder blades. Wrapping so that the palms come toward one another. Elbows at shoulder width. Pull your belly button to your back and see if you can lift the toes. Everything is drawn towards center. And then we initiate the opening. Step out of it. Beautiful. Come back to mountain. Weights equal over the feet. From the waist, from the hips, I root down. From the pelvic floor up, I rise. I range the head. I return to the breath. I press the palms together, bringing the right and left sides of the body together. Now let's open up and bring the feet out. Oh, just about underneath the wrist there. We're going to go into warrior two. So I'm going to really initiate the action from the right hip and pivot on my right heel and turn the right foot out 90 degrees. I'm going to angle the back foot about half that. And I'm going to try to draw a line from my right center of my right heel along my mat to go back through the center of my left arch. That's going to be the foundation line you want. I'm going to anchor into the pinky toe side of the back foot and slowly sink my sitting bones underneath me as I bend the front knee directly over the ankle. I may adjust the feet here a little bit until I find just the right spot for me. Really broad here. Thighs are working external rotation, so they're going this way so that the sitting bones can sink underneath us. Then we extend the arms out, palms facing up. Arms are extensions of the collarbones. And then turn the palms to face down, let the shoulder blades and hips lower. Turn your gaze over the right fingertips Inhale and expand through the arms in both directions. Exhale, shoulder blades and hips sink and release. Exhale, release. Straighten the knee. Bring the feet into center. Bring the heels in just a little bit closer and have the feet going out about 35, 45 degrees. We're going to sink down and bend both knees into goddess pose. So as you bend the knees, they'll hide the feet from you. Let those sitting bones sink. Cactus arms, open the heart. And then straighten to release. Good, now let's take it the other way. So we'll take the feet back out a little bit. So they're underneath the wrist, and then my left hip's gonna open, initiate the movement. Turn that foot out 90 degrees. Now angle the back foot in, and I'm looking to draw a line from the center of the left heel that would go right through the arch of the back foot. Then I'm gonna do my slow release. We don't want all our energy to go forward into warrior two, right? We're trying to maintain balance. So I'm anchoring back here, bending slowly, getting the sitting bones to come underneath me. Thighs are working this way. This area is broad. The chest is broad. Turn the palms down, feel the shoulder blades and hips release. Inhale, reach through both arms and open. Straighten the knees, release. Turn the feet in. Heel toe a couple times. So we're set up for a smaller stance for goddess. Both feet about 45 degrees, maybe a little less. And we sink down, goddess pose. Let those sitting bones release. Get some opening here. Open the heart with cactus arms. Pull the heads of the humerus back. Press the sternum forward. Smile. Smile. This is fun. Keep breathing. And straighten to release. Woo! Let's bring those feet underneath us. Shake out any tension and find your mountain pose. Returning to mountain. Returning to your roots. Returning to center. Returning to your rhythmic, authentic breath. Want to inhale and extend up here. Lift the heart. Then grab hold of the right wrist and extend over to the side. As I do this, I'm going to keep the hips centered and pressing down into strong roots. I'm going to draw the arm over. It's going to resist a little bit. That'll keep my chest and back equal. I want to keep my head centered. And I'm going to breathe into my side body. And we come back to center. And we go the other way. Hips stay centered, rooting down into the feet. As I use the left arm to draw the right arm resists a little bit. And the chest and back stay equal. My side ribs open. And I take my breath there. And then I come back to center. Return to mountain. Extend out. Bring the feet back out underneath the wrist. And we're going to take that warrior two, maybe a little deeper, maybe a little wider because we've already been here. I'm opening the right hip. I'm anchoring into the back foot. I'm finding that foundation line, bending the knee over the ankle, but keeping weight in the back foot. Thighs are externally rotated. And I'm going to take those arms out. Open the heart on the inhale. On the exhale, let the shoulder blades and the sitting bones sink down. And then let's take this to reverse warrior. I'm going to let the back hand come down the back leg. I'm going to inhale and lift the heart, elongate the spine. And I'm going to exhale and extend over to side angle. So I can bend the elbow onto the thigh. I can bring the hand down. Either of these will work, right? Keep the side body long. We're revolving here. So those side ribs will point at the ceiling. And then we're extending overhead. We're reaching out in front of us toward the right toes. Nice full breath here. And then inhale back to warrior two. Straighten the leg. Oh, that feels good. Bring the feet to center. Let's go the other way. Open that hip. Pivot on the heel. Back foot turns about half the way that the front foot did. Sink down. Let the sitting bones release. Underneath you, reach out. Open the chest. Exhale, forearms. Release the shoulder blades. Don't disturb your base. Take it to reverse warrior. Lift and elongate. Extend over slowly. Draw the buttock down and underneath. Find where you want the elbow. Keep weight in the back foot. Revolve. Warrior two. Straighten the leg. Release. Whew. Heel toe. Bring it in. Shake it out. Come back to your mountain pose and enjoy a moment of neutrality there. So as we come to mountain, just make sure the weight's even across the feet. As we're at the spring equinox, you know, over the winter, the body slows. It holds on to things, just like the earth is holding on to the snow, to the moisture. As we move towards spring, there's a big transition. Why are March winds important? They bring air, right? Wind. We need to dry out a little bit after winter. We need to bring some air, some heat to our practice. Release the excess moisture, the kapha in the body, which may be in the form of mucus, right? Sometimes we get that kind of little respiratory spring cold. It's a matter of how we're adapting to the seasons. So practice like this, where we're really bringing some air into the body, getting a little more dynamic, building some heat. This helps us expel the excess kapha. The way that the earth brings the wind, to help dry out, right? All that mud and gluck as the snow melts. This is what we're doing with our practice. We're mirroring nature. Settle into your center. You could really feel that increase, and it's something we're not used to right away, right? So I'm taking longer here at mountain pose. Just bringing myself back to neutral. All right, we're going to move to the floor. And we'll finish off. Speaking of heat, let's do a little boat. Half boat. So I'm going to go into this slowly. I'm going to start with the hands behind me. If you're really struggling, always can go back to hands on the floor. Right, we want to concentrate the energy into this area here behind the navel. I'm going to start with bringing the knees bent and toes at eye level. Take a good look at my toes. I'm going to use my hands and perhaps draw the chest and the legs just a little bit closer. And then I'm going to want to pull the belly button toward my back as I extend my heels away from me. And then if the belly is feeling strong enough to support this, I'll let go with the arms, hug the heads of the humerus in, but extend through the fingertips. Keep looking at those toes. Lots of fire at the solar plexus. One more breath. Exhale, release. Go ahead and drape yourself over your legs. Let your head be heavy and take a resting breath. Inhale and draw the head up. Take it to a tabletop here. I'm going to position the hands under the shoulders. Keep the knees bent. I'm going to spread the fingers wide and take the elbows and bend them a little bit to open the chest, right? If I start from here, my chest might be kind of shoulders forward. So I'm going to bend and lean back. And then as I press into the hand, the elbows will straighten. My chest is going to come up so that it's nice and open. Sternum toward chin. Elongate the thighs. Press down into the hands and feet. Open and lift that front body. Press down into the hands and the feet. Strong stability through the arms and legs. And exhale. Let your back come down. Relax onto the back, keeping the knees bent. Take the feet as wide as you'd like. Find a resting breath here. Find neutral. Okay, from here, I want to take the right knee and drop it to the floor on the right side. So that right hip's opening and external rotation. I'm going to keep the right foot at the midline and come onto the pinky toe edge of it. And I'm going to keep my shoulder blades and my back body in position, resting heavy. And just let the hip open to the place that honors your experience. And then really tune into the breath here. When I inhale, I like to envision that from the right groin, there's energy extending out through the inner thigh and just creating a little space there. And then when I exhale, I feel the head of the femur like a weight sinking down into the rear of the hip, down toward my mat. And I feel my tongue release away from my teeth, open my throat and inner body. And I just find that acceptance that I need to really make this hip opener beneficial, right? So the hip might struggle here through the outer body, but if we control how we're responding through the inner body, how the nervous system is responding, how the breath is responding, and how the throat and the inner body are responding, then we can create change through just the grace of surrender at those places. Physical structures don't come into being unless there's a thought first, right? It always starts with a thought. And so if we can build a tightness with thoughts, we can dismantle it and soften it with thoughts. We'll take our last breath here. And then we'll bring ourselves back to bent knees, both feet on the floor. And we'll go to the other side. The shoulder blades, sacrum heavy. And release the left knee toward the earth. Come on to the pinky toe side of the left foot. Keep it at the midline. Keep the back body as it is. Exhale. The knee and the hip are heavy. Inhale. Let the inner thigh lengthen and open. Ripple that inhale out from the groin. Create a little flow, a little space. Exhale. The head of the femur is like a weight, like a dumbbell sinking down. Tongue is heavy, throat opens, inner body softens. Who knows how many thoughts created the tightness that you might be having here? How many experiences? How many times we didn't let go? But now, if we bring conscious attention, initiate the new thought form, the inner body soft, then we can start to dismantle this tightness. Slowly, surely. One more breath here. And then bring both feet back to the floor, knees bent. All right, and let's take this to thread the needle. So we already opened that right hip. I'm going to go ahead now and bring the foot to the left thigh. Flex the toes and press the knee away from me. Keep my back body heavy. Keep my neck and head soft. I might just breathe into this a bit, really work the knee away from me, or I might thread the arms through and draw the legs closer. I'm going to keep both toes, feet flexed. As I use the arms to draw back, the legs resist that a bit. And I take my elbow and tuck and press the knee out to keep that hip joint active and engaged. Breathing in that new thought. Breathing out, dismantling the old thought forms. Exhale, return the left foot to the floor. Go ahead and let the right leg drop all the way over. Let's take this to a gentle revolved stomach pose. Just a nice, easy twist. I'm going to pull the lower hip back, drop both knees to the left. Keep the right shoulder blade in place. Turn my gaze, breathe in, breathe out. find the right spot for you. And again, just dissolving on the exhale. Last breath here. The shoulders heavy, the knees heavy. We've got a nice long line of energy diagonally across the torso. The throat and the tongue are soft. Then we bring it back to center. Adjust the shoulder blades, the sacrum, and let's go to thread the needle with the left foot coming to the right thigh. Toes flexed. I got an arch in my foot. I'm pressing that knee away from me. Keeping the back body right where it is, keeping the neck soft, no tension there. Just working into the outer glute hip area. I could stay here and just work this. This might be enough for me. Or I can bring the arms into it, but only if it's not going to cause undue tension at the neck, the face, or the shoulders. As I draw the legs closer with the arms, they resist a little bit. I keep pressing that knee away from me, hip joint active. Keep my back body heavy, release. I keep the tongue heavy. Inhale, create the new thought form, which will become the new physical experience. And exhale, dissolve the old thought forms. Dissolve the tightness. Dissolve the resistance. One more breath here. And then I'll place the right foot on the floor, cross the left leg all the way over, take my arms out, anchor my shoulder blades, draw the right lower hip back, drop the knee to the floor on the right, turn my gaze, breathe, find just the right place to rest. Breathe in and approach that new thought form, that new way of living in your body. Breathe out. Dissolve the old thought forms, the old way of living in the body. Last breath here. Slowly bring it back to center. We're finishing off here, getting ready for Shavasana. I'm going to invite you and encourage you to take a moment or two, do any last poses that you might want to revisit now, or that maybe we didn't get to, but that your body calls out for. Perhaps you want to take the legs up. Perhaps you want to move in, work into the hips a bit more. Perhaps you want to take another down dog and neutralize the spine before we go into Shavasana. Those would all be excellent choices if you're unsure what you're wanting to do. You can also take this time to get a sweater or blanket or any props that you might want for your final relaxation. Perhaps child's pose would be helpful to quiet the mind. All right, so I will start to guide you into Shavasana now. You will want to start with the knees bent and then recline. And as we did at the beginning of class, please take your hands and move the back body into position. Move those large flat triangular bones. Adjust the skin of the back body. Maybe smooth it like you smooth your sheets on your bed when you're making it. Take your time. I like to use the scapula, the shoulder blades, and the sacrum as my base points, my anchor points as I'm coming into Shavasana. So I really like to get them smooth and flat and touching the mat in as comfortable a way as possible so that we can sink into the back body, rest into the back body, and to really allow ourselves to sink into gravity's embrace here. We're going to use gravity as our friend. And I like to think that as I'm going into Shavasana, I really want to take my mountain pose and I want to rest it on the floor. So think about aligning the heels of the feet, the pelvic heels, the occipital heels, as we did earlier, creating some nice long lines between those. The legs and the arms should feel nice and long. The heart should feel open and gently floating above the rest. And take as much time as you need with that. Sometimes I extend the feet out, bring the big toes together, then let the feet drop open. And I oftentimes will just wiggle the upper arm, the outer upper arm gently underneath so the heart is a bit more open. And so that I can feel the heads of the humerus bones sinking down into my armpits and putting the mat. As you're finding the right position for you, then closing the eyes, listening to the breath, perhaps drawing the fingers in and then exhaling and allowing them to open, curl gently, allowing the palm to soften, feel warm. Letting the hips feel heavy, letting the tongue feel heavy. The tongue is connected to the brain, communicates our thoughts. We release the tongue, we release part of the work of the brain. We release into the inner body more. So as you exhale here, exhale the tongue heavy, away from the teeth, back toward the throat. Do it again, do it again, do it again, until we have unhooked from the mental chatter and have entered just the physical experience of the inner body fully. Let your exhales soften and open the throat. Let your exhales sink the eyes into their sockets. Let the exhales carry you away from your outer body away from the outer world. Let your exhales direct you to your inner sanctuary. Leave the world behind for the next few moments. It'll be there when you return. Leave the thoughts behind. Leave the stories and the memories behind. Simply be in the moment. Nothing to do. Nowhere to go. Completely at ease. Let your next inhalation deepen and just begin a slow progression of the energy from your center, moving back out and into the peripheral body. Perhaps feel this as gentle movement, stirring the fingertips and the toes. And I encourage you to take your time. There is no rush. Let that movement build into a stretch. Whatever feels good to you, a yawn, a rolling of the ankles or the wrists. Come onto your side before you come all the way up. And transition into a comfortable seated position for you. One where we can close class together with a brief breath meditation. I'm going to center the spine. I'm going to let the hips and legs be heavy. Bring the pointer finger and thumb together and plug the other 3 fingers into the earth. On the inhale, I invite you to reach up with me for hope, grace, and contentment. To pause here, stretched out between the earth, connected to the earth, but also connected to the sky, to the heavens. And then I'll invite you to bring the hands together, to bring those qualities to the heart. Let your inhale lift the heart radiant. Let your exhale bow the head heavy. Do that until head and heart meet fully. Breathe into that space where head and heart meet. It's quiet, it's content, it's wise. Live in that space. Leave your mat in that space. Carry that space with you as you go about your day. Namaste, friends. Thank you for practicing with me. Happy spring. Enjoy.
Thanks.
You're welcome.